And could you please share a couple of items that you always share to make sure we comply with the safety moment, which is RTD's culture, and some other information that I know you always share.
Absolutely. Well, again, my name is Vivian Morales. I am the lead civil rights specialist here at RTD. And we have a culture of safety. So whenever we have a meeting, even if it's internal of 4 people or more, we always do a safety touch point. So today I want to talk about Bike to Work Day. Today is Bike to Work Day. So I don't know if any of you that are commuting were able to do that. Just keep in mind common safety when you're on your bike. Of course, the helmets and pads if you use them, but also just make sure that your bike is in tune, that you're keeping up with the checking of your bike, your tubes are full, all of those good things. So whenever you're able to hop on the bike, it's ready to go, and then you don't have to jump on an iffy situation and then keep going on there. Alexis, if you don't mind, I'm just going to share quickly a little bit about the virtual protocol. I know that we have done a lot of virtual meetings in the past, but I just want to remind you, Teams is not one of the ones that is mostly known out there. So you have at the top, you have your microphone and your camera buttons. Make sure that camera is on. We want to see you throughout the whole presentation. Make sure your mic is muted. We are expecting anywhere between 50 and 60 people here today. So we want to minimize that background noise as much as possible. But if you are on a phone and you dialed in, thank you so much for doing that. Welcome. *6 is your magic number to mute and unmute yourself. So if I get a lot of background noise from your end, don't worry about it. I can mute you, but I cannot unmute you. So whenever there's a question, so if you would like to participate, remember to unmute yourself. Being there in that part of the conversation, if you have a question or if you want to contribute something, feel free to put it on the chat. The question, we have our staff for the Small Business Opportunity Office. If it's something that we're able to answer on the chat, we will do that so we can keep moving along. If it's something that needs to be brought to the attention of the larger team, then we will take a minute in one of those Q&A moments to bring that question over and be discussed openly for everybody. Also, we have the raise your hand feature. Feel free to use that if you have a question. I think I covered everything. Am I missing something, Alexis?
No, I think you covered pretty much everything. Thank you very much, Vivian.
All right.
Great to have you helping us in these presentations and leading your portion. So now, before we move to Brenda, again, we wanted to make sure you guys take advantage of of today's presentation. OpenGov is the portal of the RTD. It's using now. I share specifically with the small disadvantaged women-owned and minority business owners community notice. So they did, procurement team did that, the same notice with all information, basic information on what is OpenGov and how to use OpenGov from now on. But this presentation will be useful not only for you, but I encourage you to share this with all other companies that you know. Just ask them, have you registered in OpenGov for RTD's contracting opportunity, things like that. So that will work for everybody. So now, I mean, in order just to take advantage of the time, is 9:04. Brenda is here ready for you, and she will be addressing the presentation. If you have any question, like Vivian was saying, you can just share it through the chat, or you can just wait until we have a specific moment at the end of the presentation for specific questions. But again, thank you. RTD wants and needs your participation in our contracting opportunities. And again, this is the best way to get access to our solicitations. So with further communication now, let's have Brenda Leo, our contract manager for RTD.
Thank you, Alexis. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Just give me 1 minute. Do you see the presentation, or do you see the with black on it? Sorry.
We see the presenting view, yeah. The
Okay,
presenter's
great.
view. No,
Okay.
you need to switch it. You need to switch it.
Oh, the presenter's view. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Sorry.
No worries. There you are.
Are we
There
good?
you go. Perfect.
Okay, sorry about
Yes.
that. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We have some good information to help you access our current solicitations, know who in terms of prime contractors are following or potentially working on a proposal for some type of solicitation. So we're going to go through well, this is an overview of OpenGov, how to do your vendor registration, and some advice that I'd like to give regarding the procurement process. So let's see. So today we're going to do an OpenGov review. RTD has a new kind of updated procurement resources page, so I wanted to go through that to show you how you can access additional information that's real helpful, how to do a vendor registration, and how to follow a solicitation in OpenGov. And again, like I said, I have just a few slides of some recommendations from procurement. So we're going to start with an overview of OpenGov, and this one I'm just going to kind of read. It gives a pretty good summary of what OpenGov is. It's an award-winning cloud-based contract lifecycle management tool with end-to-end workflow automation that encourages collaboration, accelerates procurement processes for compliant solicitation development, evaluation, contract creation, and award management. So I know that's kind of a long sentence there, but it is an amazing tool that is very up to date as far as IT technology goes. It is user friendly, and it creates some really great ways to not only communicate with our vendors, but also internally for RTD as well, to be able to process things faster. So right now, as of March 1st, RTD began advertising our solicitations through OpenGov. And so we are now receiving proposals or bids through a secure web portal, which is through the OpenGov platform. One of the great things about OpenGov is that our suppliers can utilize the industry's most guided and intuitive vendor portal. There's a lot of tutoring modules that you can access once you're a registered vendor that can help you learn to navigate OpenGov, but it is very intuitive. I haven't heard so far anybody having issues moving through it, obtaining information, downloading documents, and things like that. So through this vendor portal, it helps us to receive more complete compliant solicitation responses. And it also, we have a lot more sustainable vendor network, which I left this kind of comment in here because I used this statement for another presentation, but I think that that's important to point out because a lot of you are going to want to be providing work as a subcontractor, right? Specifically those that have a goal, but maybe even others. And so the larger vendor network that we have access to, that translates to our small businesses as well, right? So you'll be able to see who is downloading and who's interested in a project, and you can reach out to them, but we'll talk about that more later. This is a great part of what OpenGov provides. Vendors can now download and monitor solicitations at no cost. It doesn't cost you anything to become a vendor, a registered vendor. It doesn't cost you anything to watch a solicitation or download documents. If you recall, previously we were using Quest CDN, and they just kept increasing the price little by little. I think it was up to maybe $15 or something to get solicitation documents. And so we wanted to remove that barrier, even if it was a small one, because we want everybody to have access to our solicitations and be able to participate and follow without having that additional cost. So, and there's a couple features that are not yet implemented, but I thought it would be good to note them once we're fully implemented into this OpenGov project. We'll have a proactive contract management software that we can track milestones, and we'll get automatic notifications for deadlines, like, you know, if we need to do a renewal or we need to re-solicit a contract, we'll know that well in advance, so that's going to help us with ensuring that we're following through and getting things done ahead of time, and ensuring we maintain the services and products that we need. And then also, one of the goals is to have a public facing contract database in the future. And what that'll mean is that people can access OpenGov through RTD's website, and they can search for contracts. And that provides a lot of information, as you probably know, scope of work, pricing that we had on our previous contract and things like that. So it's a good tool for our vendors also. I mean, in addition to, you know, the general public who might have some questions. I don't have a slide about this, but I just want to let you know, we initiated this project back in the fall of 2022 and started working on building it. Our first solicitation, we kind of switched to advertising them. I think I mentioned this on May 1st of this year. And so there's different pieces that we are working on. We're right now working on setting up templates and logic so that we can build solicitations and contracts by answering a series of questions. And then they can be advertised, of course, through OpenGov. Right now, we're using our kind of old school way of doing the creation of the solicitations and then adding it as an attachment. But either way, we're excited to be able to advertise it on OpenGov and get feedback and responses through this platform. So, all right, so we recently did a lot of revisions to our procurement page, and we renamed it Procurement Resources. There's a lot of great information on here. There's links to getting to OpenGov to do a registration. We're showing upcoming and advertised solicitations, pending and awarded contracts as well. So I'm going to kind of go through that portion, how you get to that, what information can you get from our updated page, and I think it'll be helpful. So there's on our page, when you get to it, there's several quick links that we have. And you can click on any of these red boxes to access the information. So it is linked currently. Like if I click on current solicitations, you're going to see what we have today. It's not a delayed kind of a report. What RTD used to do is have it, our admin Jan, who's amazing, would create a report and then should work with IT and communications to update. And you guys probably have seen, I don't know if it's monthly or bi-weekly, but anyhow, newsletters from our small business team that said, okay, here's our current solicitations. Well, you can go to our website and in real time see what we have going on. So I think this is a great tool for this whole entire group. So again, there's current solicitations, upcoming solicitations, contracts pending award, and contracts that have recently been awarded. It's not going to have all of them, but you'll be able to see what we have. So I'm going to go over the current solicitations page. If you click on the red box on our website, you will come to this current solicitation. So this is going to show everything that is active right now. This is just a screenshot as of, I think, yesterday or the day before. So it's an example, I guess is what I'm saying. It's an example, but one thing I do want to point out is what we're doing is in the title, so it's easily identifiable. We're going to put at the end if there's a goal. 10% DBE, 10% SBE. So it'll show here, and it'll be easy for this group for sure to identify, this project has a goal and I might be able to help meet that goal by providing my goods or services, right? So we wanted to make sure that that was clearly visible to support the small business office and those of you on this call. So the second block is for upcoming solicitations. So these are ones, oops, darn it, I have to go back, hang on. Now I just messed up my thing, just a second. Okay, so upcoming solicitations are ones that our procurement staff is currently working on. We're putting together the solicitation documents, or it's in legal for review, and it'll be advertised soon. So, here's another example. We have a US 36 Sheridan elevator project. There's a 20% SBE goal. So it'll be being advertised soon. Actually, I think this one might be being advertised today. But anyhow, so this provides some additional information, not only what we currently have advertised, but what we're working on. I will say it's not everything. It's the things that we're at the point that we have all the information we need, and have met with our project team and stuff to get information on clarity on how the project's supposed to be done and all of that. And we have actively started putting it into OpenGov as a solicitation. So there's a lot more going on in the background, but when you see it here, it's getting close to being able to be advertised. So I just wanted to clarify that. Again, contracts pending award. I wanted to talk a little bit about this page because, as you can see, there's different statuses that are shown here. I think evaluation is probably obvious. We're in the evaluation stage of I just want to make sure I didn't. Oh, yeah. Okay. So RFPs always require an evaluation, but so do IFBs. It's just not the same, right? We're looking at the price only, and if the people who submitted bids have met the requirements. So it could show an evaluation status even if it's an IFB. So I just wanted to explain that. Award pending means that it's gone through that review and evaluation process, and we are working on either getting a contract created. We're awaiting approval from the board. This community and customer surveys is one that we already have the recommendation for award, but it needed to be approved by the board, which I believe happened last night. So there's different statuses, I suppose is the best way to say it. And so I just want to give you a high level of what those meant. Contracts awarded, again, like I said, these are going to be ones that were recently awarded, probably within the, I think it's within the last 90 days. And so when it says closed, it means that the solicitation is closed out and we have now awarded a contract or a purchase order. So I just wanted to clarify that. It doesn't mean the project's closed. It just means that that solicitation is closed. So now I'm going to move to how to register as a vendor in OpenGov. I just want to point out it's really easy, and it gives you access to OpenGov and RTD solicitations almost immediately. You just have to kind of put your information in, go to your email, and complete the registration. I will say this. I'm going to show you how to get to this, which is also going to show you how to get to RTD's page that shows those 4 buttons that you can access our current information. I didn't want to put it in here twice, so I put it here. But first, I wanted to talk about why you should register as a vendor on OpenGov. And these are the 5 kind of highest things that come to my mind. When you're a vendor, you'll receive automatic notifications of advertised solicitations. And also when you follow a solicitation, you'll receive all of the notifications for that specific solicitation. And I'll talk about that a little bit more later. Like I mentioned a minute ago, you'll have instant access to all of RTD's current solicitations. And you can download all solicitation documents at no charge. Basically, it's as quick as getting into it and going to the section that has those documents and downloading it. So I hope for all of you, you'll see a big difference in the ease of accessing these documents. Additionally, if you've been involved in any of the procurement processes that are solicitations that we've done, there's always an inquiry period for all solicitations. And so OpenGov makes it really easy for you to ask questions that you may have online through the OpenGov solution on that specific solicitation. So it's really easy to do. You can obviously submit solicitation responses, and that's done through a secure online process. And you can see who is following the solicitation. So I want to just talk real quick about that. Some of you may be more familiar with the term of a plan holder, and this is OpenGov's version of a plan holder list. So you can see who's interested in the project. You can see who's following it and is intending on proposing, and that helps you by being able to have that contact information so you can reach out and say, hey, I'd like to work with you. I can provide these parts of the scope, right? So again, I'm going to talk about that part some more later. So I have some very specific instructions here because the intent I had for this is to be able to share it so that it's easy for people to access the website and have very specific instructions on how to register as a vendor. So I just wanted to make sure it was clear. So first of all, you probably are all familiar with RTD's website, www.rtd-denver.com. So you'll first go there, and then you're going to scroll down to the bottom of the page to under Business Center, and you're going to click on Procurement Resources. One of our goals in our department is to get our Procurement Resources page somewhere more visible, but right now this is where it is, and so I'm just to show you that. So the next thing you're going to do once you get on our website, you'll see this this section on the page. And what you're going to want to do is click on this register as a vendor. And the register as a vendor link goes to OpenGov, and it'll pop up a box. Actually, first it comes to this page, I'm sorry. It'll open up this page. Right here, this little click here, and I wanted to spend a minute on this because it's a little deceiving and we're working with them to get this fixed. But this is a screenshot that you'll see on our website. This is not right in this area. This isn't where you would be able to, it's not an active page, it's a screenshot, right? So you can't enter your email here, and I just want to avoid any frustration by saying it's just a picture. Right here, this click here to register, and I know it looks small here, just trying to get this stuff on the page, but you'll see it easily. That's the one you need to click to get to OpenGov itself so that you can begin your vendor registration. I added another little note here. So when you click on the right place where it says click here, it's going to bring you to the OpenGov page. And how you know you're in the right place is it has this banner across the top, OpenGov procurement. It no longer has the RTD heading and information. You will see our name on the left-hand side, but we learned that some people were having a little bit of a problem because of that screenshot. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. Okay, so now you're here in OpenGov, you're ready to sign up as a vendor. So you'll enter your email address in the box, and it'll turn green that it appears to be a legitimate email address. What will happen is once you hit enter, you'll get a screen that pops up that is confirming that you have successfully signed up. And it's going to direct you to your email inbox, because at the same time you do that, OpenGov sends you an activation email. So you'll need to go to your email in OpenGov and open it up and click on this activate account link. And it's going to bring you to this. It'll bring up this welcome to OpenGov procurement. We're excited to have you join. Let's set up your account. So then you'll click on start, and this screen will pop up where you need to enter your name, first and last name, your company name, and a company phone number. It is required that you enter all of this information, so please make sure you have all of this here. Otherwise it could cause you some problems and it may kick you out or not let you move forward, I guess. Okay, then after you enter that information, it's going to prompt you to enter your password and then confirm it. It is a 12-character password, which is pretty long, but just want to make sure that you are aware of that because it is pretty long. If you have questions about the why so many characters, there's a little blue dot there you can open, or question mark, you can open it up and it'll explain a little bit more about that. So the next thing that'll happen is you'll get this account activation. Once it confirms you've entered a proper password and everything, then it'll tell you to, or this will pop up and you'll just need to click on this to activate your actual vendor account. One thing I wanted to point out too is that you're going to get another email confirmation you've completed your registration. This I feel to be very important. You're going to get this message from OpenGov, but I just wanted to stress this. In order to make sure that you receive notifications from OpenGov, you need to add these 2 email addresses to your contacts or your safe senders list so that it doesn't wind up in your junk or spam box. So just make sure you don't skip that step because you may be missing out on notifications of a solicitation that is just exactly what type of thing you do, and you don't want to lose out on an opportunity. So, okay, so once that's completed and you go to log in to OpenGov, the first time you log in and maybe other times too, I actually don't know, but the first time for sure, you're going to get this pop-up, and it is basically a tutorial that you can go through. There's different tutorials that you can look at and pick which one you find helpful immediately, but I definitely encourage you to take a few minutes here and there or all at once, whatever, to look through these tutorials so that it'll help you navigate OpenGov and be able to have a smooth, easy process to not only look at solicitations, but also when it comes time to if you're doing your own proposal and not working with a prime to submit your bid or proposal. So I highly recommend you take the time to do those training modules. Okay, so we're going to talk about following solicitations in OpenGov, and I'm trying to go fast enough. I don't want to rush too much, but I want to kind of show you on the live website if we have the opportunity. But I'd like to just give you some information regarding why you should be following solicitations in OpenGov. So again, I'm stressing to follow a solicitation, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit here. But basically, it's showing that you may be interested in a project or providing your services to supplement what a prime contractor may be doing. Basically, you're saying, I believe I can help with this project, whether it's goods or services that you offer to complete the work that's identified in the scope of that solicitation that's advertised. When you follow a solicitation, your company name, your name, and your email address will then be shown on a followers list. And that means you're visible to these other prime contractors that, especially if there's a goal, but I would encourage you to do it on others as well, because you never know if they may still need you. Just because there's not a assigned DBE or SBE goal, that doesn't mean that they couldn't still use your services. So I just encourage you, if your work that you provide matches any component of a project, to get on that followers list so those primes can see you. So again, it'll make it easier for prime contractors to reach out to you. And I said this earlier, but if you follow a solicitation, you'll receive all the notifications regarding that solicitation. So if an addenda is issued with questions and answers, you're going to get a notification that it's now posted. Before I move to actually how to follow a solicitation, are there any questions at this point regarding what I've talked about? I know I feel like I'm going a little bit fast, but I want to make sure we do have time for discussion if we need it.
Yes, Brenda, we do have two questions on the chat. The first one is from Lacey, and she's asking if it will be, or is it right now easy and quick to determine if the solicitation is for construction or for design? And she brought this up when you were bringing up the list of solicitations that were active or upcoming.
Okay, I think I would say that the easiest way to determine that would be to go to the solicitation and just click on it. And at the beginning, if I have time at the end, I can kind of open one. There's like a introduction and a summary that will be included. And I think just by reading that, you'll be able to tell. So
awesome. Thank you. And then Luann also has a question about creating an account. She says that if you open an account with an incorrect name, do you need to start all over, or is there an opportunity to change your name and email in your account once you create one?
So I know that you can go to your vendor profile and make revisions to that. However, I'm not 100% sure if the email address can be changed once you have a confirmed vendor account. I can certainly find out about that part of it. Or if we have time at the end, I can try to go into my vendor account and see if it'd allow me to change my email, because it's very highly tied to our email addresses, right? So I'm not sure if we can, or if you would have to create a new vendor account with a different email, right? So
all right, so we'll follow up on that then.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. And then there's a question from Rosie. The landing page has only an option to log in, but not to register as a new member. Is there something specific that says new member, or is it just a login, create an account?
I'm sorry, maybe I'm not understanding. Register as a vendor is if you do not have a vendor account through OpenGov. So it's a new registration. Am I not understanding that question? I'm not sure if I captured that.
Do you want to hop on and ask the question?
Absolutely. Thank you, Brenda. So when I open the landing page for opengov.com, the options at the top, it only has login and request a memo. So it doesn't, I don't see a place where it says register as a vendor.
Okay, so what you need to do is access that through RTD's website on that procurement resources page, because it's going to bring you directly to RTD's login. So when you create a vendor account through that link from our website, you're automatically going to register as a vendor for RTD. I'll make a quick comment and say that doesn't mean you can't see other agencies' solicitations, but I just didn't go into that too much because I've got a lot of other information. But that's why you have to access OpenGov through RTD's website and link that's provided. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Yeah, that makes total sense. Now it's working. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, I'll go ahead and move forward with how to follow a solicitation. So once you get into OpenGov and you can see our solicitations, I just use this active solicitation as an example. So you'll click on it from our list, and once you get into it, this is just the top section of that solicitation that's advertised. There's a button over here that says follow, and this is the one that you're going to want to click on. So you'll click on follow, and I'm looking at this now, it looks a little confusing, but hopefully you can follow what I'm saying. So when you click on that, it's gonna bring up this box right here. And it's gonna ask you, what is your follower designation? I wasn't able to have this open with the different choices, but it's none, it's prime, and it's sub, and it's, I think, plan house or plan hold. No. It's like the plan companies that are, researching and getting solicitation information. So, so you would pick whichever one you intend to be on that project. If you want to be a sub, you can add that. If you're a prime on the work that you could provide, then you would select prime. After you select that designation, you'll click on follow project. What happens next is that a box will, on the bottom left, it just comes up real quick. It's a little black rectangular box that says following project. And it just is real quick. But if you miss that coming up, you'll now see on the solicitation on the upper right-hand side, it'll say that you're following it. So that's how you can confirm that you absolutely did what you needed to, and you are now following that specific solicitation. So I'll just make this quick comment. You aren't automatically following anything. You will get notifications of the solicitations, but if you want to be on that followers list and you want to get notifications, you do need to click on this follow project and then confirm that you are in fact following that solicitation. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about how you can view the solicitation followers. Okay, so once you go into that, let me go back here. When you go into the solicitation and you see this screen, right underneath it, there's some tabs. And I think it's the last one on the right. On the top, it says followers. So you'll click on that followers tab, and I wanted to talk about what you'll see. So prime contractors, subs, etc., when they have followed a solicitation in OpenGov that they're interested in, or at least reviewing and considering to submit a proposal, those will be listed on that followers list. That's why it's important for you guys to make sure you're following. I know I'm being redundant, but I just want to make sure that message is clear. Make sure you follow solicitations that you can provide all or part of the work on. You can offer your goods or services to the prime contractors to use your DBE or SBE certification status to assist in meeting the assigned goals. And I want to make sure you understand again, absolutely on ones that have an SBE or DBE goal, but you can reach out to them anyhow. It doesn't only have to be when there's a goal. Make sure you ask questions regarding the solicitation. Like I said, there's an easy way in that solicitation module there that you can, it's easy to find. You just ask question and it'll pop up a thing and you can put your question in the box and it'll go right to that procurement agent handling the solicitation. So just make sure you pay attention to the schedule and the dates of when that inquiry period ends, because after that, we're not able to accept any more questions. So also make sure that your proposal or bid, if you're working with a prime, that you've provided them all the required information. And this sentence is a little messed up, I think. Ensure that your proposal or bid includes all the required information and provides thorough responses to all the listed requirements. So I guess it makes perfect sense, but it's just a reminder that when you're going through the process, if you're going to submit a bidder proposal on your own, to make sure that you've thoroughly read the requirements in the scope, the requirements of what you need to submit through OpenGov with your bidder proposal. So I am going to move to some of the advice that we have as a procurement staff here at RTD. I've mentioned some of these things a couple times, but I want to stress that, it's very important. Sometimes you may get lucky and a prime will reach out to you directly if they see you following or if they know you, but I absolutely encourage you to be proactive in reaching out to those primes and, offering your services. Say, hey, I think I can help you with this project. This is my expertise. And when you do that, please don't wait until the last minute to contact them, because, well, first of all, they may already have somebody else. And second of all, it can it can equate to having to rush on your documentation, and that can result in errors and missing information. So, I would recommend you keep a good cadence in reviewing active solicitations so that when you see something upcoming, you can be ready to reach out to those that might be primes in that solicitation and provide that work. So, just a reminder, and this is for primes or if you're a small business, either way, those solicitations with a DBE or SBE goal, all bidders and proposers must make good faith efforts to meet the goal listed in the solicitation documents. And all of those required enclosures need to be submitted. And the reason I'm including this in this presentation to the small business group is because it ties in with my first comment above, and on the previous page of make sure that you are being proactive in reaching out to primes, because they have a requirement that they have to make good faith efforts to meet a goal on those that are assigned a goal. And if you're reaching out to them, that's showing that you're interested in the work, but it also is helping them to meet the goal. And I think being proactive will help get work that maybe you otherwise wouldn't have. And again, I'm saying here again to thoroughly read all of the DBE, SBE contract requirements. So there's obviously the scope of work requirements, but there's also documentation in each of those solicitations that have a goal that are very specific to the SBE or DBE contract requirements. So it's important to understand those. Another advice that I have is to make sure when you're submitting a bid or a proposal to RTD directly or to a prime, to make sure that you're providing pricing that to be competitive. When you do that, you're putting yourself in a better position to be able to be awarded a contract or be able to work with that prime. So make sure it's competitive, because that is one of the main goals of our public procurement department here, is to provide a open, fair, and competitive procurement process. So we're always going to be looking at price. So just make sure you're checking yours when you're providing it to RTD or a prime. So again, some of this might be a little bit redundant, but I just wanted to make a quick list for reference. When you're trying to work with a prime contractor, make sure you promptly provide information, company information, pricing, etc. They may be working on a proposal and they want to say, this is the sub I'm using, and here's a summary of their experience, and or pricing, whatever, all that information. They've been in business X amount of years, and they're the person that'll be doing this work has this type of experience that is perfect for this. So oftentimes that information is included in the proposal submittal. So be aware and responsive when you are asked for information. Again, contact them early. As soon as you see something that you could help complete that work, make sure you're reaching out to them right away. And then follow up with them. If they haven't told you no, I mean, I'm not saying call them every hour, every day, but make sure you're keeping that communication open and follow up. If you send an email and you don't get a response within a few days, just touch back with them, or reach back out to them. Also be available for questions, clarification, pricing, or other information. So if you're trying to work with a prime contractor, they may have questions. You may provide them some information and then they have questions, or can you help me explain this? And it's very important to be available and be responsive to those requests. So also make sure that, or ensure your work and or products that you're providing are timely, efficient, and meet all the requirements. So that would be, as you're setting up your proposal or your documents for a prime, or if you're submitting it to RTD, but especially if you are working with a prime, make sure that you're doing everything how you're supposed to in a timely, efficient manner. That's meeting the requirements, and then you'll be in their mind when they have another project, and they may just automatically reach out to you if you've provided great service and quality work. So
Brenda, do you have time for a few questions? We have a few questions piling up in the chat.
Yep,
so I wanted to make sure
just
we
have
got to
one
them.
more. Yep, I have one more slide, and then that'll be it. I'm almost to questions.
Awesome.
So I just wanted to let you know, generally speaking, procurement is available 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. I would say it could be longer, earlier and later, but I'd like to use those core hours to share with you. If you need direct purchasing help, you can follow purchasing.help@rtddenver.com. I would say that the best way to contact a procurement agent is through email, and that if you ever have if you're wondering who to contact about a solicitation, it's always listed in our solicitation documents. So I am now at questions. So go ahead.
Yeah, we have a few in the chat, and then if we have time, we can open it up to the floor. But Anne is asking, once you follow a solicitation, how easy is it for a potential prime to see a sub if a sub is a certified DBE and WB, and what can the sub provide?
You said that real fast, Vivian, but I think I think it's going to how is it for them to see? When you say an SBE, how is it for them to see if an SBE is following it? Is that what you mean, or can provide that work?
And do you want to hop on?
Sure. So the question is, a prime is looking through following a solicitation, and they're trying to find SBEs or MWBEs that they want to work with in order to hit the goal. How easy does the system make it for them to look and to see, for example, that OpExcel Enterprise, my company, is certified as an SBE and a woman-owned business through City and County of Denver, and that I do change management and program management?
Okay, so this all ties into the followers. So all of you, whoever, all companies are gonna have that responsibility of going through and following things that they may be interested in. These are, this is a follower. So let me just take 1 second and show you, see what I meant? Here's that one that I was using as an example, right? So I'm signed in as a vendor right now. So this is what I would see. Here's that followers tab, right? And you can go down and you can see who is following it. Here's a prime, here's a sub, right? So I'm just going to click on this and see right here. I don't know if you can see right here, coding specialist, MBE, WBE, US certified DBE. Can you see that okay?
Yes, that's great.
So,
is that their certifications?
So this is going to be, this is important that you'll have to enter this into your company profile in OpenGov so that it will show up on your vendor information. So this one's a certified small business. So that's how they can see it. So my answer would be yes, as long as you make sure that you've entered that information in your profile.
And then if they click on that company like coding specialist, does it take the prime or whoever's looking at that to a page that easily shows what coding specialist does?
No.
Okay.
So you can see it doesn't take me anywhere, but here's the contact information that you could easily send an email to them. So
to your point, that's where the reach out becomes really important about just briefly, here's what you can provide as a subcontractor, and here's the pieces of the proposal that you feel you can help with. Okay.
That's correct. Yep. So you can reach out here to Jody, if, for example, or whatever. I don't know. Some people don't put a designation, and that's going to be part of a overall vendor training in the future. But anyhow, yeah, I'll just show you guys really quick if you don't mind. And I know we're going to run out of time, but so here's that summary to the person who asked before. Sometimes we have stuff in the intro and the summary, but it'll give you a high level explanation. If that part seems to meet what you do, then you can go to the solicitation document. Right now we're doing them as if you're familiar with our solicitations, it's done outside of OpenGov right now and attached. So you would look in this solicitation document and it'll have the scope, and you'll be able to see if it matches what you do. Okay, does that answer your question?
It did. That was great. Thank you.
And you also had a question, is there an easy way to research past awards to ensure current proposed pricing is competitive?
So today, no. That would be a Cora request to RTD. So you would have to ask, go to our website and submit a Cora request to get that. In the future, that's what we hope to do, is have you could search for the same kind of title and be able to easily access a contract document so you can see all that, but we're not there yet. That's later in our project.
And then Adrienne asks, are the primes listed under vendor submissions?
No. Here? No. This is a section saying, what does the vendor need to submit? So, technical response, open records, technical and cost proposal, and then you're certifying. So vendor submissions is the section that shows what needs to be submitted by the vendor.
And then Tawana, I see that you have your hand raised and you also have a couple of questions in the chat. Do you just want to just unmute yourself and ask your question? Tawana?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was looking for the mic. Sorry. How you doing?
Good. Go ahead.
Thank you guys for a great presentation. Will you be making the Q&A from the chat group? Because yeah, I'm asking questions. I see some other questions that I think that are of interest to me as well. It would be helpful if a lot of that Q&A from all of us were made available so we can just reference it in the future.
Yeah. At all of our meetings, we download the chat and send it to all the participants. So you have that, not only the contact information from everybody from the beginning when they were introducing themselves, because we don't have business cards, but also for that effect of having all that conversation that was in the chat recorded for everybody.
Wonderful. Okay, so my question that I put in the chat was do you guys require a letter of intent during the bidding process when the primes are submitting their bid solicitations? Is that a part of your package? That's question one. And 2 would be post-award. Do you require subcontract agreements between prime contractors and DBE subcontractors, and are they enforced? Because there's a history of prime contractors getting the contract and then kind of, kicking the subcontractors to the curb. And I noticed that there was some tips that you put in your presentation to the subcontractors with regards to how to do business with the primes and in terms of, performance and things of that nature. And we appreciate that. But what I did not, unless I missed it, see anything regarding tips to the subcontractor, to the primes on how to best do business with us. Because habitually we find that they will literally wait. It's to the 11th hour to reach out to us, no matter when we reach out to them. It's very habitual of these prime contractors to come to us with a state of emergency. We need a quote like now or tomorrow for a bid that they have to turn in supposedly 2 days later. Well, the best you can do sometimes under those circumstances is give them a rough estimate, which may or may not make you competitive because you don't have enough time to do the work it would take to give them the best rate under the circumstances, the scope of work, the time when the project's going to start. So you just give it your best shot under those circumstances, which could end up putting you in a situation where you may not appear to be competitive.
Okay, so let me try to get this. We're almost out of time, so I'm going to try and do a quick or a thorough response. As far as the intent question, there's different intent letters. So is that part of our procurement process is to get some sort of letter of intent from procurement? No, I would say that when there's a goal, and I could be wrong, but when there's a goal, all of those documents that need to be completed and submitted, that is showing your intent to meet the goal and how. And when I say you, I mean a prime, or if you're taking it on yourself, right? So that's that part. As far as everything else you were talking about, so this presentation is 100% geared towards small businesses. And so that's why there was no conversation about requirements for primes. We have been discussing and starting to put together a training for all vendors, including prime specific, right? And so that conversation regarding their expectation, or the expectations being unrealistic, asking you for a quote at the last minute, will certainly be part of that. But I will say, if you're familiar with a solicitation and you've been reaching out, you would have already reviewed that scope. So that's another benefit of watching it and having it on your radar. And if you reach out, I'm not saying have it all completely ready, right? Because that's a lot of time. But at least you'll be familiar with the scope and be able to be responsive. So I hope that's a good enough response, or helps to understand at least high level. And again, like I said, we're working to come up with a training more specific to primes and or all vendors, not just a small business group. So
I'm going to add, Brenda, really quick. For, like Brenda was saying, for DBE goals projects, we will require letters of intent. That will be in closure 3, and we will enforce 100% of that amount. Even if the prime wants to reduce the amount that agree with you during this pre-proposal process, they will have to have a good cause, and the good cause will be approved by RTD's SBO. Other than that, there's no way to reduce or remove or terminate a DBE that has a letter of intent. So we will enforce that. We do it really very successful in our projects. But again, we encourage you to work in all the phases of this pre-proposal process or solicitation process, so you get more time and communication with the prime. Now, if you are registered, like Brenda was saying, you'll get those notifications on time. If you're not, you might get to know once you just go there and do your own research, maybe once a week or every other week, or whenever you deem necessary. But those updates, when you follow a project, it's necessary so you know exactly when is a pre-bid meeting or pre-proposal meeting, so you can submit questions. Like Brenda was saying, the tool provides for you to submit the questions, and we are all in compliance with you. Do it that way. So it's important for you to do your part as a small business and reach out and always be on the top of every project. We definitely need you from that side. We encourage you. We go to the community. We participate on a weekly basis with, community events, and we send several information through the week. But we need your portion of the work, which is reach out, do your network, and submit your portion of the work. Hope that answer your question, Tawana.
It does. If you don't mind, I'd like to clarify the context of the question.
Sure.
To something Brenda said. So first of all, I appreciate what you said, what you just shared with me. And it's totally understood. Yeah, we definitely have to do our due diligence. However, in a situation where you're a subcontractor, you're providing a service, and you know what lane you fall in. For example, one of my other questions in the chat group was, are you guys going to be counting and capturing DBE spend on a second and third tier subcontract level? That was my other question. And the reason why I was bringing to your attention the issue with the untimely feedback from the primes is because the kind of project, when we typically participate, it's most likely on a second or third tier. So yeah, you may put the project out there and put the scope, but the work we're going to be performing is not, there's not going to be that level of detail. The scope would just give us an idea of what's coming up the pipeline, but not to a level where we can provide pricing per se. There's another level of detail that we would need from that prime that solicitation is just not going to have. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
Sure,
absolutely understand.
Yeah.
That. It
So
makes sense. I mean, but
yeah. So
we
even if
we
we
aren't going
were
to be able to.
following, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so RTD, we can encourage that quicker reaching out and collaboration, but clearly that's going to be a conversation between you and that prime. But I did want to make one more quick comment. I think somewhere in your question you had asked about contracts. So the contracts that RTD do are going to always be with that prime and not with the subs. So I mean, unless you're submitting as a prime or you're submitting as a sole, you're going to provide the whole project, and then that contract would be with you.
No, that wasn't the question. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the question was, are you enforcing subcontract
Of
agreements
course.
between the prime contractors and the DBE subcontractors? That was the second part of my questions. I didn't expect for you to have subcontractors agreements between RTD and subs. What my question was, are you enforcing post-award subcontract agreements between the prime contractors and the DBE subcontractors? That's what I was asking.
I understand. And I was starting off with that first initial response just for clarity. The second piece of that is, like Alexis said, and Alexis, thanks for jumping in on that part, that I was hoping that's what would happen as far as the DBE requirements. That group, Alexis and his group, absolutely monitor and ensure that things are going as presented to RTD, and to the extent that RTD is able, and that's why I was bringing up the contract part, because a subcontract is directly with that prime, right? So there may be areas where RTD doesn't have anything to do with that agreement, but in terms of the project and the work that's being done and completed for RTD, there's always going to be that oversight and enforcement of, like Alexis was saying, the work that's being performed, the amount of the work that's being done by the subs based on the goal assigned and the documentation that's been submitted with the proposal. So sorry, I kind of stopped in the middle of what I was trying to say, so it wasn't a full answer at that point. So
just to close out with that question, Tawana, we will enforce 100% of the subcontract agreements. Doesn't matter the tier. We have the means and forms to capture every single portion. Doesn't matter if it's tier 2, 3, 4 under the prime. The prime doesn't even know, but the prime will have to know if they want to count that participation as a DBE participation. And we will get a copy of that on those subcontract agreements. And we will do, of course, the CUF, commercial useful function site visits, to make sure that you were the one doing the work, nobody else did. So in order to have you rest assured that we will monitor and make 100% compliance on that portion is also included in the executed contract. It's actually part of the DBE contract requirements. So you will see it. That's something that, again, like Brenda was saying, maybe it's more in another topic, not related with maybe this main topic, but we appreciate you bring that question because it's always a question that is there, everybody, can ask that question. I know we're running out of time. I know Vivian, of course, Vivian has to do some closeout. There's a couple of questions. I'm gonna try to address those questions through the chat right now. Well, maybe Vivian and close out, the whole session. Again, thank you for the time. Thank you, Brenda. Excellent presentation. Love it. Thank you, Dana, for attending the meeting as well. Appreciate our director in contracting and procurement was here as well. And again, we're going to have another one coming in August. You will hear what is the topic, but now go and just try to maybe evaluate this presentation, scanning that QR code that Vivian is showing, so we know specifically what topics you would like to know, or what is your feedback about this particular presentation. Again,
absolutely, yeah. So yeah, we'll stay on for any other questions that you'll have, but I know you all are very busy, so feel free to start hopping off to the call. Again, thank you so much to Brenda and Dana and the procurement team for this fantastic presentation today. So as you know, we do these forums about 5 times a year, and we are only getting better because of your feedback. So please take a minute to either scroll up a little in the chat. I'll put it again, that link on the chat once I'm done talking, but also you can scan the QR code and be super honest with us. Let us know what you think. Let us know what else you want to see, what topics you want us to address, because this is how we get better, because this is for you. So the more feedback you give us, the better we're able to serve you. So again, thank you so much. And we will see you the next time. The next one is in August, the end of August, and the registration is already open for it. So I'll put that link on the chat as well. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, all. Have a great, excellent rest of your day. And yeah, Adrienne had a question in the chat, but she's raising her hand. So feel free to hop on, Adrienne, and we're technically done.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks very much, everyone.
I was just wanting to ask on the RTD RFPs with DBE participation, do you guys also include DBE liaisons on those RFPs?
Whenever it's a multi-year contract or design build, yes, it's part of the DBE plan to have also a DBE license.
And you said design build, and what was the other one?
Multi-year contracts, 3 or more years.
Okay. And would that be in the OpenGov?
It's part of the RFP documentation. So in anywhere we have a DBE goal, the DBE contract requirements will be included. And yes, it will be a requirement. Therefore, it's going to be included in that particular download that you will be accessing from OpenGov.
Okay, one more question. The follower section on OpenGov, that's similar to a plans holder list, correct?
Kind of.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it is, that's basically what our vendor, that's what OpenGov is calling it. They're equating it to a plan holders list. Where I identified a little bit at this point in time of discrepancy is I want people to be able to see who has actually downloaded it as opposed to following it. And so we're working through that. But I think really the main, because this is all new, right? The main thing that RTD is going to need to do is like I did today, make sure you follow it. Because if you follow it and you download it, it's giving us a better picture, right, of who's actually working on and intending to move forward with a proposal.
So they have the interest in it, but you have to download it, almost similar to BitNet. You have to download it to show who's interested. And do you guys indicate who's the sub and who's the prime in the follower?
Well, did you see the first part of the presentation? So that's up to you to put that in from you, the vendor, whether you're a sub or a prime. Again, that is, we encourage people to use the correct. So there's when you go to follow, there's a drop down menu that comes up and it's going to ask for your designation.
Got it.
Some people are putting none, and I really want to get messaging out to don't put none, because we want to know if you're the prime or the sub. So in a lot of cases, you'll see it. Plan room is the other one. So that though happens when you follow a specific solicitation.
Okay,
so.
Got it. Very good. Thank you so much for staying on board to answer my questions.
Of
I
course.
really appreciate it. Great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. Appreciate it. Nice seeing you here.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Does anyone else have any questions? I see there's still quite a few people here, so.
I'm impressed. I know. I love that people are sticking around for the Q&A.
Yeah, if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to help.
No, thank you. It was very interesting, and you guys answered quite a bit of questions. We appreciate. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Thank you, Vivian, Alexis. See you soon.
Thank you, Rosie.
Bye.
Thanks,
Right,
Brenda, Alexis, Vivian. Appreciate it. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Glad I will
Vivian.
stop
Hey, guys,
recording
great
and
presentation.